This is what I call kind of a whistleblower video here. In reality, there isn't much risk, but I'm taking a social risk, at least from a group who did report me a few months ago. I'm going to reveal what actually happened in the log history before history tries to revision. And the reason I'm saying this months later is that I'm not saying the exact date I post this because this is obvious. We'll edit this video because I do fear retaliation and I might still make the problem worse if I post this right after the issue. Even though the social power isn't as strong, I mean, the day that this video is released is the day that I guess my site gets to take its walk. And what's this video for? In metaphor, I'm going to break down all of the events that happened before the Reflection Transparency Act, at least for the group, to also prove my own innocence, because apparently some of the claims that were made against me was that apparently some of them think that I showed off bad vibes. Apparently my documentation is creepy, and people like from that group are thinking like, this is not good, we don't like this, like get this out of here. That's why I've been here. As I said, I don't have the full reason, so it could still be different. This video could still end up missing a few things. But in an objective lens, let's view from the very beginning, February 17th.
The report today was quite interesting. So here we go. Morning period, 0 period was successful. I was able to wake up early, and I got to school dressed up on a good stomach. I was full and I eat breakfast. I was so early to the point that the breakfast cafeteria wasn't open yet. In this case, not many people were here, so I decided
I'm gonna let this video play by itself, guys, because it's like a reflection within a reflection video. So we'll play what I say here, and we'll see what's going on.
between joining a single girl that was at a table, another random person near the web benches, or maybe there's a 3% friend group right a little further down, right at the end of the door. I became hesitant because there's a lot of people to join, and there are many places I choose to go. I also had to face the risk that many of these people are drifters and they could disappear the next day and like not tell me where they'd be. I would leave. I was afraid then also. I also faced the risk is that if I waste all that time that I woke up early for, I simply hesitated. So my mind pulled me to multiple places. The empty benches with a girl, the other one with a friend group that's sitting down near web benches, and calculating all of the possible possibilities. I joined the first available one because I was looking for a constant. A constant in my definition was a place and a group. A friend group and hang out with them anytime during the morning, for example. Basically, a constant means it's a friend group that you could find with, join with every day, and they'll tell you like where they'll be going from time to time, especially for the morning period. The thing is, in the morning, there's too much social turnout, and people drift both in the library, the tables outside, and even on the benches that are locally there. So I had to decide where to go. I took up a large portion of the time because I was fighting on two distinct fronts. The hesitation of analysis, because we have a lot of friend groups we could join in, but they also have that risk and that they could just drift away. Having to break that fear that once we select the friend group to go to, we gotta break that too. So that takes up a lot of time. And for an introvert like me, that takes time relative to other friends that I've talked to before who seamlessly integrate. Especially when I'm looking for is that we're looking for a permanent constant, like a friend group that you could find with and hang out with during the morning period, for example. And not just drift from place to place without telling, is where I also am. I may have looked like I linger in and out of places constantly, but that was my mind calculating the risk of what's friend group to join, what's going to happen. I'm not looking for romance. I'm not looking for the extravagant, loud-talking extrovert group. So I visited some before. I'm just finding a constant, or actually no, the definition of a constant. What does it mean? Army constant. Especially social turnout. I was fearing to join this type of friend group, and I don't like big groups, and I know I should have joined earlier while the friend group was so small, but that next fear about social friction itself already took up a lot of my own time. A lot of people don't face my difficulty because they're not thinking about it or they already have established groups. Fear is already distributed, but for me, I gotta pay it upfront with all of its costs. My parents are much too complex and they would not care. Same way, they make an argument whenever I talk about stress.
So right here, chat, is where the first time that I made contact with a friend group. Obviously, I have my own social anxiety right here. And right here, guys, is nothing's happening right here. It's just talking about our own self. We're talking about our own social struggles. There's nothing that's going on that's objectively terrible, for example. There's nothing, we're even breaking our own thing. So right here, this is the first time that we join. The next one is we're going to go to the next one.
To bring me the Today for me was actually a really important milestone. So I've just made my first interview, which is really not an interview, but I'll talk about it later. So for the day, I woke up early this time, I biked for a little bit, and then I went straight to school. Some pressure was there to put my mom to bring me, but it was mostly fine. I came to school early, and the friend group wasn't there yet, so I decided to hang out with the friend group near the door. I was freezing since there was only like one girl nearby, and the conversation went mostly fine. But as time passed, I began to realize that as more people began to join, the friend groups naturally began to fragment as a result as more and more people joined. But the earlier I came, the less social costs I get because there's less people, and we also get early birthdays for women, so you get the first tips. And I took to initiate a full conversation, though I was not able to per se. People came in and out, so that kind of disrupted my way of conversation. So I don't prefer this group style per se in the way you think it would be, but I think I could handle it, though I will have further questions. It felt a little warmer and intelligent as well. I did my way, and it is much slower for social players, but other than that, big credit to me and a few other girls and boys. Of course, I can't forget the zesty one at that point. So not the first period, not much happened there. I did complete a
So this is our first interaction with the group, guys. Nothing is happening. We just logged our first thing. Nothing really much. Obviously, I did talk about how difficult it is kind of when it comes to social plate tectonics. But as you guys were seeing so far, there is nothing that is objectively harmful in these videos. So we're going to keep on going.
I woke up early, even though I stayed up until 12 a.m. I got to school right around 7:40 a.m. I ended up being really sleepy. I checked my mom and I woke up early, and I got to the same breakfast that I was in yesterday. That was mostly fine, though it was really cool. The conversation went well, I was more people joined in. Credit to the boys and girls there. I know there were one other person who said something about how certain people during pickup time, they have to go to their trunks physically, even if it's something that's not work, that's just about that. And then go, what decided conversation with the mom or dad during the actual drop-off time in the morning, and now they're leaving the stuff. Instead of like a simple drop-off, people have to get down, has to open up the trunk, and has to hold it away. I don't like that sound, it's definitely plugging that in the conversation. So I'm gonna get conversations like this is mostly trivial. I just use it always did it. But on personal highlights, I make like Sienna sometimes, but not too often. Now, big credit to me, big credit to one other person and one other person, well, big credit to another person named Albert getting this one started. I do this jokes, I think this was the first time I'm ever watching this now, or sometime later on. So here we go. First kid, this one,
So for this first time, guys, there's nothing that's going on. Obviously, I did overstep that first boundary right there. I did not ask for them. I forgot to ask them if they could be mentioned or not. But this is just documenting the mundane. There's nothing that's going on. There's nothing that is objectively terrible. As you guys can see, that this is not just about the group. We're documenting our entire day. It's about 5 minutes here. So February 19, guys, there's objectively nothing's happening. So let's keep going.
This is the final cherry on top for this week and for me. So, in the morning, I pressured my mom this time to get me ready soon after bringing me to school faster. She was looking ready and she got me that I kept on bossing her around as I hurried up to send me to school. Well, I eventually got to school and we were fine a little bit earlier than usual, as I'm always doing now. So I did aggravate her a little bit as we did go to school, you know. And she also told me that she ain't gonna pick me up later on. And so, later on during pickup time, I eventually started walking home because I thought she was actually not gonna pick me up. But she was going to pick me up, but it's just like her mood swings to me as that. She says that out of anger, but she doesn't really mean it. And that can talk already about when I'm talking about what the complexity of my parents. But we're not at tangents. Let's begin with the 0 period. I hung out with the same group this time. Obviously, a little later and there were more people. So there's obviously a higher cost to attention to the group. I was in conversation for a little bit, but I was able to eventually join in. Though some friction did kind of happen. Many people did come in and out. They weren't mostly chill. I wasn't able to hold a conversation myself exactly because I'm not that good at it yet, though I still need improvements for somebody like me. The conversation itself across many people was fragmented, but it still went on small groups of people come in and out at the time. So I did initiate the two interactions right at the end. I talked to another person as I saw yesterday. They said they can't add my Instagram, so that's fine. I added another person's Instagram. And for that reason, I'm welcoming your watching this right now. Credit to you. I don't remember names, so I'm going to keep a few mobile letters, phrases, and names so I can actually attach myself. So credit to me. Credit to someone else's name who started with me. I don't remember. I don't remember his Instagram. Credit to another one. I think you're linked here. I don't remember exactly your name, but you already jumped in and out. So credit to you. Now, let's begin. Now, what I observed from my experience in high school is that when it comes to sociality, many groups join out of personal choice, but partly because we're also children. Of course, it's still around for friends. But because we got work and assignments, since I do not have classes with some of these people, I have to manually take the position myself, initiating the interaction myself, and making myself known. The groups are to sometimes, and it's not always to make myself known. Someone needs to initiate more interaction. Then interaction and identity is the next reason of action. And if groups themselves are interconnected for many reasons, while I am not yet in a social home yet, it is a social home. Now, there are multiple properties, all that same social home. So they all connect. Different houses that all connect to the same place. We also have add-ons on conversation, then I prefer whole weeks, or instead of home, that's fine when it comes to. I'll say food such as food. I know you guys have talked about but I'll cover that anyway. Now, we're going to jump to first period.
So now this is why I did overstep, guys. Yes, I did end up mentioning a few names, and that's nothing right there. But the thing is, we can see right now that there's nothing that's going on. There's no trouble, no secrets, nothing released. I get that sometimes not documenting interactions and like looking at something and like you know that it exists. Like there's still nothing that's going on. I get that there might be a narrative loss the group might feel. Yes, I do get that, but I still try my best to hold people within a neutral lens. And you guys can see that right here. We're mostly being intellectually curious about ourselves and them. Not that we actually had any agenda against them. We did not have any creepy thing against them. In fact, most of the time, it's neutral. So let's keep going.
Very interesting. So I was able to wake up early and I did what I needed to do. I prepared breakfast, so I ended the time. So I had to when we talked to I remember doing this school and then mostly like, I thought today was going to be a but that was what worked out. I got to school around 7:40 a.m. I had a slow but fine conversation with you. I was able to share a big thing about me that what happened yesterday. I was able to do that on Instagram or YouTube video. I eventually got my voice down as I was running. And it's not wrong. I was not meant to like conversations. They went mostly well, not really much channel there. Credit to the in-between names I can remember from my I don't remember everyone's. I'm just naming ones I can remember. Credit to Mia at you know I can't name yet. So anyways, first period. Let's begin. I worked on Spanish this time, and of course I tested the teacher.
So right now here, guys, yeah, I still overstepped that boundary. You named them, I didn't ask them. But there's literally nothing. We're just naming our conversations, and you know, this is the stuff that's happening.
But mostly neutral. So in the morning, I realized I didn't defrost my bacon and my meat stuff for the morning. I took it and I realized I make it right in the freezer, not the fridge. So instead, I put it in the cold box in the morning. I made it in the morning, so I was not fasting a little bit. When I got to school, most of the time, I started to feel I was walking in the atmosphere of nutrition, but I was fridge. Anyone has a fridge before. There's always time before actually going down and looking at the short fridge, someone agrees, someone agrees. You always see people moving around, always give my time on the phone. I thought that's school during that time of morning. I don't school that it was really hot to be honest. But 15 minutes, I was able to hold a very short conversation with all the people in the groups that I was in. I thought that's about what I and I also talked about stuff too. And then eventually I ended up taking my conversation and everything was going to have to finish up. Now, while we're there, I was able to put all my age. I couldn't English teachers using English class. I would have I heard that people had me commenting on girls' cultures. I heard looks at the watch and people in the group were also talking about crazy things where they might be school anyway. It was crazy. You guys want to know I'm not just a novel or but I asked about it is all my age. I'm not sure how it is. It was crazy. I'm not sure if you read it, let's see it. It was up to this controversial crazy and I asked if it was a novel, but it was just a regular. I'm not just multiple books. So then I was thinking time, I decided to change now I remember everything eventually. I'll credit to Alexis. Now we're moving down to first period. I used
Okay, now that's my thing again, guys. We did overstep that boundary again, but ultimately, there really is nothing here. I'm just logging my daily events that are happening to me. There is nothing that is objectively spying, nothing that is objectively creepy. This is simply just no sabo stuff. Well, I just read that off the captions. This is just regular, everyday things as I do. I'm going to move down to, as I said, I'm skipping a few days because those count the weekends right here. The one with Liam is on the weekend. This one is also on the weekend.
to begin. I was not able to cook my meat this morning since I ended up waking up late, so I ended up, you know, we talked about it instead. I had to go, let me go back to my meeting, but anyway. I got to go to the kitchen, I was doing it earlier. I remember is I was able to hold a conversation with people, people that also doing it, I was also doing it, I found that I found that I did talk about some topics, I didn't mention lower and voice, I can remember, credit to the girl with long hair, even all of them have long hair, and credit to the boy in Albuquerque, short for Albert. Anyways, let's begin with first period. It was oddly interesting. The conversation with people, even for the mouse talking too, and even as I was getting down to the point of mouse talking to someone, I found that friend right there. I did talk about some off topic stuff, it went mostly fine. I did eventually lower my voice as more people joined. And I can remember, credit to the girl with long hair, even all of them have long hair, and credit to the boy named Albuquerque, short for Albert. Anyways, let's begin with first period.
So notice here, guys, how there's nothing to report. There is nothing objective. There is nothing that is objectively wrong, as we've been documenting. We're just simply saying that we interacted with these people. Here's some metadata, and that's it. There's nothing that's being revealed. There's nothing that's creepy.
So I ended up happening anyway. Even as I tried to specifically be boring, something still wanted to be this happen. In the morning, I was able to get to school and I visited a couple times with conversation with you, and we talked about how I was really going to sit down and start out how I tried to film those videos, and I wanted to keep those videos in YouTube, which I kind of found pretty funny. Other than that, as I did transition out of the conversation, as more people joined in naturally, I did learn about stuff such as World War II and a little bit more topics as I searched the internet on my Chromebook after then. But yes, I would absolutely love to keep my Gangnam style when I was like 5 years old. Niche, keep that niche, keep that away from people I don't know, even though there's so many videos for me to watch, even though I don't have access to it right now. Now that I can remember, credit to Pat, credit to Alexis, and credit to yet another name that I still don't even remember, so I'm kind of sorry. First period. This period was surprising.
Now, notice, guys, how we have not made any mistakes. Obviously, yes, we did reveal the conversation metadata, and we did reveal names. We did overstep that name boundary right there, as we did. But the thing is that, all in all, we're just saying that we interacted with them. This is how it went, and I understand why people can sometimes not want to be documented, but ultimately, there is nothing that is objectively harmful to even have a report in the first place. So, let me keep going.
Was 2 days ago, I'm editing this time, waiting to set up on the same day that I had to do it. So 2 days ago, I had to put my eyes and I was enjoying one of the girls were so I ended up going up to her, and she was about 2 feet away from the group bench that we usually sit, like right near one of the class doors, and asked her what's going on. And I was told that she told me that she was sick apparently and that she told me to go to the other group because they're funny. And I was kind of told me to go. She said she was sick, she said she didn't want any help. But when someone says that they're sick and that they don't want help, they might want us to psychologically react the opposite and try to help them. Or maybe get very and go back to the local fight group. When I decided that since I'm not full friends with the girl, I'll just leave it to her and the local friends to deal with it. And I just decided to go to the water bowl where I was holding. We were gonna head down to the local group and ask them is that why she's sitting in the back. And a few minutes later, another friend said to me that she might have been confused and that she might not thought that we were sitting where she was sitting at. As it was another group member that did take over a bench or part of our friend group sat at. And two things I do retroactively sense is that she might be confused. One of the locals took all the benches that we sat in, and her friend sat on the next bench. So she might misinterpret that as us not wanting to be near her. Or maybe she's going through something and that situation confused her even more. Either way, it did go well after. I did ask one of her friends to see what's going on. One of them ended up going to her, and then both of them ended up coming back. I didn't go well, but eventually we sat back at our seats and I did offer to change seats since I wasn't in her spot where she usually sat, but she wouldn't say. I'm not going to make this a account of what reasons why, because that's going to take too much time. So we'll just leave it as it is. And what I did realize is that as more and more people are joining in as your friends like Gary, well, I'll start to take time. People move around as more people join. And maybe I should have talked to more people than I'd say. But the conversations are mixed. Some homework, some bring in some stuff about the day. So I should have joined in the conversation, but I decided just didn't. So I was a little bit shy, so I might try to do it next time. Besides that, I did have those people were not organization, but I don't know if they follow each other. I want them to end up hating each other over the ball with the so I could hear a loud scream in the back. They do point out sometimes. Remember, credit to Pat, Emily, and one name I don't remember. This period. This time,
So you guys notice how, yet again, there is nothing that is objective. We did name the conversations, yes, that can still be interpreted different lens. But the thing is that are there any secrets revealed, any threats, is there anything that's going on? No, we're just logging the fact that this happened. That's it. So literally, there is nothing troublesome. And this is the day right before that we got reported.
I call today a double whammy day because of what happened at 6 period. So this is the type of day that would be academic finished and everything, but it just really off. So I was able to do this morning. I was barely able to eat waffle. I'm about chocolate tea, which I should actually waffle really cold. That's 9 o'clock last night, so we got to come to 4 on 7 a.m. And that's really the conversation. Well, it's not my nice conversation. I tried to find a conversation and 2 points. I had 2 points. What I'm not conversation really good. I didn't really want. I think I sat down and had a short conversation with this somebody in college. We talked about all my age and some other things that I sort of mostly brain matter. And that's the thing that I noticed for social places comments that I've always rambled about before. I noticed that there were 2 separate zones. The bench I was in had very few people, around like 2 to 4 people somewhere standing up. The other bench was a literal Thanksgiving feast. There's like 10 people on the other bench completely full. I found it pretty interesting. And it means that for groups, according to social places comments, 5 people going in different places. So it's natural that there's like 12 people, the literal feast Thanksgiving feast. I did ask one of them right at the end of the period. I joked that he wants to meet during Christmas because he doesn't remember operation for such last week. For the last 15 minutes before that, their lunch ends. But he forgot to actually go to the library. There's that one guy and I forgot the name and his partner too, so I'm sorry anyway. I read to you guys at the end of the day. She remembered at all. First period, we continued on our
So you guys notice that yes, we are definitely revealing a little bit of conversations and still overstepped on that name thing. But notice how this is simply analyzation. We're not trying to villainize people. We're not trying to call people out. We're just saying like this is what happened. This is objective. This is what we're talking about. And the thing is that the next day is where we got reported, and I believe that March 3rd was when we made that Transparency Act. This is where we eventually got our silence.
It's very interesting just to note. Today is also like we're going to be doing this. What do I begin with this? I'll be enough. Not talking to me. I went talking to you. I went talking to you. So everyone might know what's going on. I just had to on the day. I realized why this was on. So credit to the people who got to me. Not the people who got to me. First period.
See, well, I kind of summarized this, but yes, nobody talked to me. And I know I do concede that yes, we did violate their privacy. We did go over by revealing their names and conversations. Yes, but the thing is that we need to focus on what was revealed. Was what was revealed important enough for a report, or was it important enough for an informal social solution? What I've been seeing over time, guys, is that we're just documenting what's happening. We're just observing what's happening. There's nothing that is threatening. There's nothing that's going on here. And like, this is going to be my little paragraph ramble here that I'm going to go on, guys. I know that the group still has valid concerns. I'm really putting myself back in the line of fire and revealing what happened then before the Reflection Transparency Act, but to prove a little bit of a point. The sheer nature of my logs shows like the key points that have happened. Like, I did log my absolute lowest to my highest moments. And that is the entire timeline from February 17th to March 3rd, and I knew where I joined them. I talked about my day, but I talked not to stalk people. I talked not to creep people out. I talked to be able to document what happened. I want to know. I want to keep a personal history. And furthermore, what I was documenting was everyday happenings, the mundane high school conversations, and if simply observing a conversation is enough for me to get reported to the dean, then that highlights other metaphorical glasses in the place that's already cracking. And yes, I do say, yes, I know that I hurt them. I know that I didn't mean to do so. I didn't know that documenting them would mean that they would actually fear. I did overstep that privacy boundary, as I said, by talking about them. But the thing is that they also hurt me too, because they didn't give an informal talk. They gave nothing. I did not reveal any secrets in their place. I did not reveal anything that's going on. I was just talking, saying, like, this happened. This is what happened. I don't mean anything. Like, I do get that people may not want to be exactly documented upon within the logs and not the conversations log, sure. But to call the dean over that, especially when no secrets were revealed, that's an overreach right there. Like, I deeply understand a few parts, but not all. About girl hierarchies, thanks to one of my friends online. Thank you guys for that. And I don't understand everything, but I know that privacy concerns are privacy concerns. But if a simple edit takes less than a few hours, then I'm saying that this might make the report look a little bit disproportionate. And at that point is that I'm being punished for simply observing, like being struck down, called a witch just because I say that, or there's thunder. And furthermore, guys, what's documented yourself? Like, it's literally harmless, mundane, everyday things. I understand that I should have asked, and I still do apologize for not them before. And I get why some people may not want to solve solutions in person to avoid friction. But if simple observation is already treated with the weight of disciplinary report, then that itself is a problem. It then forces the other side, me, to counter with as much as heavy weight, even when I didn't want to. Like, I did not want to make the Reflection Transparency Act. It's a bad example because if every newcomer like me who does view life differently and think a little bit differently, if we're automatically viewed as a threat, then friend groups won't be able to innovate. People will be without diversity. You guys even see that I even put some emotional credits to joy too. I mean, some days you did see I did wake up early. I did want to go and fight against the regular teen undersleeping thing just to get about 10 minutes in the morning period to talk with them and eventually move on with the day. I process that a little bit differently than typical teen dynamics because I view people as people too, but we also view them as complex people, complex systems to understand. That is the same exact care as going up and supporting people emotionally. That's just expressed a little differently than the typical way. I was treated like a threat when in reality, I just had a microphone and I had some confidence. That's it. I believe too that this was also most likely group thing. Probably like a he said, she said thing. So collectively, yes, something might have happened, but let's in reality. If one day I do go out to a boba place, I meet a 22-year-old girl named Ella. I think she's pretty cute, and I think her husband's even cuter, for example. Say I talk to him online and I say, so I talked about this couple here, they're pretty interesting. And let's say that they're pretty chill. Say those couples don't want to be named. Do you think that they're going to call the police and file a report just because I mentioned them in a little YouTube or Instagram video? No. Would they like to talk first? Yes. Now, I want you guys to apply that exact same logic to the group. How group think about that. It's also red herring. It's a red herring argument because the argument that was said to me by the dean was that, quote unquote, you revealed conversations that they didn't know you'll be revealed later, quote unquote. And A lot of people would think that is a privacy concern right there, but we need to focus on the content that was revealed, obviously. And yes, I do get why people may not want to be documented, as I say. But to first put on the geeky glasses, let's put on the law by my glasses here. First, in a legal lens, we must look at it this in that way. Was this a public space? Was this a school? Yes. Was this outside in the chilling cold? Yes. Was there an expectation of privacy? No. This is a public space. Obviously, this is the outside of the morning. If you shout a daily conversation, if you shout through a megaphone into school, and if you shout something in a bench, you cannot blame a person for simply remembering it and saying it online. And look what was revealed. It's everyday, mundane conversations. Low stakes, even mostly about me and what I want to do to join the group. I even invested some credits. And no one's safety was compromised, no data was leaked, it was just some I mentioned time and time again. Like, I get in general that in people, when it comes to some conversations, would want to be kept private, and I do understand that deeply. But by reporting, I believe that they are confusing social awkwardness and different processing as an administrative offense. I understand that some people might be intimidated by me and may not want to talk to me. I get that. But my Instagram and YouTube is open 24/7. Before the report, nobody contacted me, but a report was filed eventually. I argue that even if they did not mean it, they unknowingly used the dean's formal disciplinary system to enforce a social rule that significantly differs across landscapes. Some want to be documented, some don't. That puts someone like me in a double jeopardy trap. Having to constantly ask if they want to be recorded is there, but if we overstep a boundary, the entire world just comes back down in that specific group. Like, we all get we can just ask people if they want to be revealed or not. The sheer amount of norms means that one has seen across many groups is that even with a group saying like, no, we don't want to be talked about, personal preferences, it can get really, really sticky. Like, a lot of people, like, a group is a group, but personal preferences belong with the person. That's where it gets sticky because some do, some don't. Like, I know I've been defending and also conceding my side at the same time, but I believe that this is a tragic misunderstanding. They have a valid privacy front, as I say, guys. I had a valid publicity front. I failed to tell them what I do every day, and I overstepped that. But that Dean report implies that I'm dangerous and that apparently I'm a threat. It's implicated like that. But the thing is that I'm just a person with emotions. I have a standing too. We both undercut each other by eventually forcing me to make a counter response, and they misinterpreted our curiosity as spying, even though both have overlaying traits. But a spy works underground. I work right on the ground where everybody can see it. I'm honest about what happens. And had someone told me not to mention, like, I would not have to do any of it. In total, the group has a valid defense for privacy. That still stands. But I also have a valid defense for documenting publicly. The dean has a valid defense at the same time to ensure that nothing causes distress, even if nothing technically happened. And I say this, chat, because this is an example of complexity. Everybody acts correct, but we're all unintentionally offending each other like a feedback loop. It runs like an avalanche. I even argue that even if I win this the 100% way, I might unintentionally silence privacy. If the group wins this all the way, they might end up silencing different thinking. Thinking gets suppressed. If a school admin wins, then rigid rules win over any truth that both of us had, the group and I even have at all, and any solution at that point. Though no formal rule was ever violated. I give ground. Yes, I know the friend group did feel violated. I know that I hurt them. I didn't mean to, and I still say sorry for that. And please don't go on a hate campaign against these people who I mentioned, guys, because they are still people. They still have hearts as much as I do. Treat them with respect, just as much as you treat me with respect. But the thing is that nobody talked before the escalation happened. Is what eventually that forced me to make the Transparency Act, even when I didn't want to. And I know some people might say that, what if they wanted me to stay in the group? What if even after the report they just want me to stay? But with any school report, guys, any disciplinary report, it always implies that you're not with the group anymore. So I just took that message and I left. But I know the rare thing that I'd say here is that I'm rarely emotional, guys. You guys know I'm usually documenting the day, saying what my English teacher says, and all the things that ramble about the day. But when you guys view that video, when you guys view it to yourself or with the group, would you report me if I was in your group? Like, would I be the one that's not, like, worth speaking about? Are the logs really worth reporting me for?